Welcome back to the MMA Plug, presented to you by the Talk of Colorado on 98.1 FM, Mile High Sports Radio. I'm your host, Jordan Kurtz. You can follow me along online at Comments from the Peanut Gallery. I'm sitting here alongside the Big Yins, UFC middleweight Josh Fremd. You can follow him at Josh Fremd MMA. We have a special guest here in the building with us here tonight. We have Miss Jasmine Montoya. How you doing tonight? Mic there, Jazz. So, Jazz, you have a big fight coming up next Friday night. It's going to be your pro debut. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your thoughts? You know, how you feeling just about a week out from fight time?
Honestly, I'm feeling amazing. I'm super excited. I feel like it's actually been a year today that I've fought. So just to get back in there and gain momentum and just do what I do best. And that's pretty much the reward, after working so hard for months on end, really no, days off. So I'm super excited.
Oh, yeah. How excited are you to make your pro debut in Denver, Colorado?
I mean, I'm super excited, but I'm very nervous. I'm very, very nervous. I mean, my whole family's showing up. A lot of people couldn't make it to my first fight in Wyoming. So, or it wasn't in Wyoming. It was, it was Wyoming. Yeah. Yep, it was Wyoming.
That little outlaw saloon.
Yeah. Which was still great. And a lot of people showed up, but now everyone's like, oh, we don't want to miss it. And it's right down the street. So there's going to be a lot of people there.
Man, do I have a story? I don't know if the story of the bus that night of us trying to get up to your fight.
Oh, wait, yeah, Gino's bus?
Yes, so one of our teammates and fellow business owner in the community here, Mr. Gino Shvedov, the Russian concussion, he got a bus that he now uses, and it's completely taken care of now for the business, but this was the first weekend that he had it. And we got about a mile down the road on the highway trying to get to Jazz's fight the last time. And we were stranded on the side of the highway, and it was a complete donk show. But needless to say, we ended up getting to the fight because there was no way that we were going to go and miss that. And it was a good thing that we got on the road when we did because it was a don't blink affair. It was all of, 19 seconds for you to close it out?
Yeah. I still can't believe it. When I watched that fight, I'm like, is that me? Hold on. But yeah, that video was awesome. When you guys broke down, that was the funniest thing I seen. You guys showed me as soon as I got out of the cage. I was like, wow.
Yeah, that was quite the experience there. So, Jazz, in terms of the business side of things, I know that you guys have promo codes and things along those lines in terms of if people are wanting to purchase tickets and support for you. What are those details?
So I actually have the link in my bio on Instagram. So my Instagram handle is _Jasmine Montoya. So that link is right there. You guys click on it, grab your tickets. I'm sure they're going to have some tickets at the door as well, from my understanding. But it's definitely better to get the tickets online for sure.
Oh yeah, and you get commission off of that too. So that definitely
that
kind of helps on that side of things. It gives you a little bit of leverage, better card placement opportunities, all of that. Numbers do things for you in this business.
Yeah, you're right.
So Jazz, let's talk matchup a little bit here. Without telling us too much, without revealing too much, what are your thoughts on your matchup, and where do you see your strengths in this fight?
Honestly, I believe in my game 100% and my coaches, and I really haven't looked in too much to my opponent. I know my coaches have, but I really haven't, so I couldn't really tell you too much, but I just could, really rely on my training and go in there and do what I love to do, so that's really all I could tell you.
So for someone who may not have seen that last fight that we just discussed there, what can you tell the fans that might be watching you for the first time next Friday? What can they come to expect when you're locked in a cage there in the Magnus Arena?
They could expect some exciting things for sure. I feel like I'm the type of fighter to leave it all out there. And I want to go in there and perform. I don't want to go in there not to lose. So it's definitely going to be exciting.
Exciting it always is, especially as we referenced the 19-second knockout in your first fight. One thing that I'm kind of interested in, Jasmine, is that something I actually don't know. How did you get into fighting?
So I actually started boxing when I was, I believe, 11. I started over at Red Shield. It was off of 30th and Downing with Coach Tito. And it was kind of one of those like old school boxing gyms where like you really didn't learn how to throw your jab, and first you got thrown in there to see, okay, well, can you fight? Are you built for it? Yeah, exactly. So I kind of got taught backwards, but it definitely molded the kind of fighter that I am today for sure. But I've always been super like competitive. I was very aggressive. I always wanted to wrestle around with the guys or, so it was just always something that I was very interested in. And then I finally, actually my stepdad took me and I fell in love with it ever since. So
was it because like any scraps in school, outside of school, anything that like led to it?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I said, I've always been very competitive. So it wasn't only just fighting, but even just sports. I think one thing I really love about this sport is that you're able to, it's only you and your opponent in that cage. A lot of team sports, my teammate missed this or my teammate did that, or, you're kind of taking responsibility for other people's actions. And in fighting, it's just you and your opponent, honestly. So I love this sport for sure.
The individuality of it. Yeah,
yeah,
I
exactly.
completely understand that.
Exactly.
You're also extremely business savvy and you understand that aspect of not only just this game, but business as a whole. So not to say that you're looking past this opportunity or ahead beyond it, but what do you feel like having success next Friday night will potentially open up a door for you in terms of that?
I feel like it's definitely going to open lots of doors. I mean, it already has, given that I've only had one fight. I've had so many great opportunities that I'm very blessed to have. But I feel like it's just going to start to build that platform for me to then, open up other things and other opportunities. I couldn't really tell you exactly what I'm looking for, but I know that this will be like that foundation, So again, just finding that momentum. Like I've only had one fight, so it's hard to really say, but just building that foundation will really start to, open those doors.
Certainly.
So one thing I like to ask everyone who comes in here, and we kind of have a trend now. I get chills every time I ask this question. So we're going to keep this question going. I know it's still early in your career and you've had one fight and now you're making your pro debut. Leading up throughout this entire camp, throughout your entire training, or even taking your first fight, I like to tell a story with my fights. That's how I envision martial arts and the game of fighting is each fight I tell a story. Leading up to this fight, your pro debut, are there any books, quotes, song lyrics, or anything that you have taken with you in this camp leading up to this fight to tell your story? And what is that story that you're going to go out and show on June 3rd, next Friday?
I feel like my story really is just to finally showcase, like what I am truly capable of. I feel like in this sport specifically, it's 10 times harder for women. And I feel like you kind of almost have to work a little bit harder to kind of gain that respect and earn that respect, So I feel like this opportunity is kind of like, okay, look, like I'm in here to, for the real thing. I'm not in here for the, Instagram reels or the pictures. Like this is what I do and this is what I love to do. So it's just more so gaining that respect for sure.
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
You're about a week out from having to step on the scales. I know that everybody typically has something that's really hard for them to cut, whether it's it might be something sweet, might be something savory, might be like Josh can't get away from Skittles. For you, what is it that is so hard to give up, and why is the answer hot Cheetos and sour cream?
You know me so well. Yeah, honestly, I never hot Cheetos fit into my meal plan. So, I've even went down the route of the baked Cheetos, just to kind of, I'm like, all right, maybe, yeah. I'm like, okay, hold on. Yeah, but it's definitely hot Cheetos and my sweets, man, like pastries. That's probably the hardest thing to give up for sure.
Ooh, what kind of pastries?
I like turnovers, cookies, muffins. I'm not really too much of a big candy person, but when it comes to the cakes and the donuts and that's where it's at for me.
Whatever that cake was last Friday at the graduation party, that was one of the best
yes,
cakes.
That was delicious.
With
my Lord.
Spring Fling. That's actually Sunnyside Cakes. They're a family-owned business, and he actually makes them out of his house, and they are amazing. They're my favorite.
Yes.
Yes.
So if you guys are out there and you need a cake for a party or something, Sunnyside Cakes. Yeah, that place. I mean, that's a free shout out right there because it was that good.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Now, Jazz, we've covered a lot of things so far. You've talked the matchup. We talked a little bit of forecasting in terms of business and just some personal related items. Is there anything that we haven't touched on that you might want to get out there to friends, family, any sort of message that you want to give out?
Not necessarily. Besides, thank you for supporting me and continuing to follow me, even though I haven't fought for a year. It was kind of like, what happened? Where'd you go? Are you still fighting? Like, was that it? So I really appreciate all my fans and family that have reached out, and they're always like, keep working hard. Like, I'm excited to see you out there. Never gave up. And I'm super excited to just put on a show for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, also in that same right, people, you have to understand that the layout was not Jazz's fault either. I mean, there was you got all the way down to Miami. You stepped on the scale. You made weight for a fight, and her opponent happened to test positive for COVID. So that takes you away there. And then there was the entire situation that happened from the promotional aspect that had nothing to do with you individually, but everybody from the Iridium roster ended up being dropped from Combate just for an organizational dispute versus between the two entities. So again, it was not that it was because you didn't want to be in there or you didn't want to be in the fold. So let's just be clear, like, she's been putting in work and making sure that the axe is continuing to sharpen throughout this entire time.
Right. And honestly, everything happens for a reason. Like, I'm very thankful for the time that I have had to work up to this fight and just kind of more so my MMA IQ. I feel like that's something that I lacked going into that fight. I feel like I've had the aggression. I love to do it, so I could kind of rely on that. But now with the time that I've had, I've just been able to just grow my game times 10. So I definitely am thankful for the opportunity to just have time more than anything.
Certainly.
And one more last hard-hitting question that's really you're gonna have to dig deep and come out with something profound here. What's your walkout song?
Oh.
And why?
What's my walkout song and why? So it's actually called On My Knees by Rufus. Why is because for one, I actually don't listen to a lot of EDM, but when I fight, I feel like I have to be in this kind of happy flow state. And that song really makes me feel like I'm just free and like I'm just flowing, I'm loose, I'm ready to go, I'm happy. So it really, just helps me get ready for that.
Would you say that you also pick it because it gets the people going, gets the crowd involved, or is it more
Absolutely,
along?
definitely.
Yeah?
You definitely have to be able to move your body to it a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, even myself, like if I can't really, vibe to it, it's not for me, but I think that this song will definitely get the people going for sure.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And one last time, Jazz, where can people follow you?
On Instagram, it's _Jasmine Montoya.
And again, any management sponsors, anybody that you need to give a shout out to?
I want to give a shout out to Prevail. It's a women's clothing line. I believe they have men's clothing. They're just releasing some new gear here in the next few weeks. So definitely a big shout out to them and a big shout out to my bookie as well.
Awesome. Folks, that is Jasmine Montoya. You can catch her on LFA 133. That is next Friday night here at the Magnus Arena on the DU campus. If you're unable to attend in person, you can check that out online on UFC Fight Pass. I'm not sure exactly where your placement on the card is, but whether or not it's main card versus the prelims will also be available on Facebook. Yeah, on those Facebook. And so again, all across the board, make sure that you support these local fighters. Purchase tickets through them or through their promotional links. That all goes great links to helping them in terms of their growth and development and standing with the promotions for that matter. I mean, it all is a big deal for all of them out there. I'm Jordan Kurtz. You could follow me along online at Comments from the Peanut Gallery. This is Josh Fremd. You could follow him at Josh Fremd MMA. This is the MMA Plug presented to you by the Talk of Colorado on 98.1 FM, Mile High Sports Radio. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. That helps us continue to produce this original MMA content and bring it for you every single week. Tune in to the MMA Plug presented by DenverSportsBetting.com on 98.1 FM, Mile High Sports Radio on Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 p.m.
or live stream at DenverSportsBetting.com/radio.